Alrighty, my lovely gal, Shannon, I am so grateful that you are joining me today and you're going to share your entrepreneurial journey and your wisdom and just the beautiful energy and personality that you are. So before we get started into my questions, I would like you to share a little bit about you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I am a corporate finance executive. That's my background. That's where I came from. And 2 years ago, I left corporate. I had started my entrepreneurial journey really 3 years ago, and I joined network marketing, as probably a lot of you have done. And when I ended up leaving corporate, it was right before I had my second daughter. I got let go, and it was the thing that everyone freaks out about, but it actually was the best thing ever. And it was literally, now I know, it was the universe pushing me off the cliff and saying, you have other things to do. You need to listen finally, because I had not been listening, and go do it. And it's been a journey over the last 2 years. I guess background, I'm from California originally, California girl, like legitimately California girl. I was living in New York for the last 10 years until we moved to Denver last year. So I have 2 girls, 4.5 and 2. I have 2 giant dogs, and I have a husband too. He's floating around the house wondering what the heck we're doing in here. And yeah, so we live in Denver now. And so I decided about 6 months after getting let go, and I'm like, I have this business, I can run with it. Well, it wasn't exactly working out the way that I expected it. But the way I envisioned it in my head was not exactly what was happening. So I started looking around online. I realized, okay, I don't like the way I'm doing this for me, and I need to go figure out another way. And I also knew that getting involved in the online space was something huge. I didn't really understand how to show up there. So I went and hired a business coach. I kind of started my journey into getting help. I joined a group program, then I hired a one-on-one coach, and I went on this journey last year to really figure out, what am I doing? What do I want to do, right? Who does it need to help? Because I knew it was bigger than one company. As much as I loved the company I was with, I knew it had to be bigger, right? It wasn't just about getting people to have good skin and use one product. It was about helping more people do what I was about to do. Yeah. And so as last year progressed, I really stepped in, really at the beginning of this year, stepped into, I can do this. This is me. I'm not going back to work, okay? Because I know there's probably a lot of you out there who struggle with that. It's hard, guys. It's not easy. Yeah. You can totally attest to that. It is not the easy journey, okay? If you're looking for the easy journey, you might just want to go back and get that 9 to 5 where they let you go home in a certain hour.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, then that stuff has all led me to here, and really just stepping into my power and who I help, and everything coming together. And that leads me to now. That's the short story.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's so true. Everybody gets enticed by this, all these headlines that you see everywhere. It's like, make $10,000 in 7 days. And, it's kind of like I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. It's like winning the lottery. It's the odds of winning the lottery. You have to put in work. You can't just sit back, put out a few posts and, pray and sage and do those things and think that it's just going to be like, show me the money. It's like, you got to put that effort out there to receive the rewards back.
Yeah. And I think that's a big one. I think that most people don't realize that. They just assume they can hop in and they're like, well, I don't understand why you don't make money. And that's part of what we're going to talk about tonight, right? It's just, why do people want to do it? What do you do at the beginning? What are things I learned? Because that's who I help now, really. Like, most of my women coming to me are on their beginning of their journey, and they're like, oh my God, what do I do? Like, this is either it's not working, or they don't understand how to put together all the pieces, right? And that's the hard part at the beginning. It's, you're just throwing darts at the wall for a while.
It's so true. And then once you are awakened to the idea of your entrepreneurial journey and marketing, you watch everything and you see everything. And then because of targeted marketing, everything shows up on your news feed. And then you're like, oh, well, they're doing this method and they're doing this strategy. They're making this amount of money. They're making this amount of money. And then it's just like, after a while, it's understandable why so many people quit, because it's so overwhelming. So what you do, Shannon, is so needed. It is so needed to provide that clarity.
Yeah, and I love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
it's funny. It's like you finally get in the right place and everything comes together and you're going, oh, so this is what it's supposed to feel like. What I literally, I think I said to my husband the other night, like thinking about how some of my mentors were always talking about how things had come together for them. And I'm like, man, I don't know, like, is that ever going to happen for me? I don't know, like it hasn't yet. So I don't know what it's going to feel like. And literally it's like all of a sudden it happens and you go, oh, so this is what everyone talks about. And it's amazing. So I promise you, just those of you watching, like, you got to keep going. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can't give up. And especially when it feels extra hard,
Yeah.
you can't give up for sure. So I'm going to get into my questions.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing all that stuff. So I wanted to ask you some questions that are, a little bit different. And I feel that so many people have when they're starting their entrepreneurial journey. So what do you feel is like one of the number one myths for a new entrepreneur that they might become, that they see or become jaded with, or, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I've thought about this a lot because I get it a lot now from the people, like the women that I'm attracting and like my clients, it's like, well, I need this, this, and this. It's, you don't have to have all your shit together before you launch.
Yes.
You don't. You just need to start taking action. I see it, and listen, some of my stuff, like I tell my clients this all the time. I'm like, listen, I was backwards. I went and did my website first last year because I didn't really know what else to do, to be honest. Like, I really wasn't even sure I was going to be a coach at that time when I did it. It was over a year ago. And I thought, well, I'll just create this brand and that's what I'll start promoting. That's what I did. But I'm like, you don't have to do that. Okay. I didn't know what I was doing. You guys, at least like you guys already have a plan. You kind of know I'm doing this. I want to be this kind of coach. So yeah, I would say I'm so tired of everyone saying, I need a website. I see one more post with, oh my God, I gotta have a website. I gotta do this. I gotta do all these things before I even do. And I'm like, well, what do you do? And they're like, well, I'm gonna launch this thing, but I need a website. I need this. I'm like, no, you don't. You need to go find people that want what you have. That's what you need to do. Yeah. The rest of it you can win. I promise. Okay. Like nobody's gonna care. Your files aren't in a fancy back end. Like when you're at the beginning of your journey, like nobody cares about that stuff. They just want results. They want you to help them.
Exactly. Amen, sister. Seriously. It's so true. People get caught up in all the little things, and the branding and the logos and the pretty colors and all that stuff. And I totally understand why, because they see people, the big people having those things.
You're watching all the people that are already making $1 million. And so you're like, well, that's what I need if I'm going to get there. And I'm like, listen, don't get me wrong. At some point you need it. Okay. We all need websites. We all need email lists. We all need all of those things that everyone talks about all the time. You just don't need it when you're starting out. You really don't. That's not what's going to attract somebody to you. Mm-hmm. So I promise. I have all of those fancy things. I still have a fancy Instagram. I still use pretty colors and fancy pictures. And it didn't really help me until recently. So I promise you, you don't need it. Okay, so I'm off my soapbox.
No, the whole time you need to be on your soapbox. This is totally allowed for sure. So thank you for that. I think so many people really need to hear that important tidbit of advice, because everybody gets so caught up with those things, and it's
really hard. I'm 100% always admit that. And I think that's why some of the things that a lot of newbies get caught up in, like I was there and now I'm like, oh no, let me help you. Like, I don't want you to don't make those same mistakes. That's why we're here, to help you along the way.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So my next question is how to pick yourself up when you are in a rut, or either in your life or business. Like what do you do when you're just like up the down staircase and you just like, there's no light. The sun may be shining outside, but there is no light happening.
You're gonna have those days. I tend to think of myself as a pretty positive person, to be honest. I don't have very many of those, so I'm very grateful for that. But I know a lot of people can get stuck there. And I think for me, it's all about realizing, okay, this is a journey. This is not the end of the journey, right? Mm-hmm. I give myself grace. I'm much better about spending time on myself. That was a big piece of the beginning of my lesson 18 months ago when I first went into the online world. I had to like go take care of myself. I had to go get manicures. I had to go get a blowout. I had to like take myself for a glass of champagne by myself. I had to take the time for me and like do the things that make me happy and not just work. You know, it can feel like at the beginning that you're doing everything. There's a lot going on. You know, you're trying to make sure you answer all the messages and send emails and do all the things. And you don't ever think about, and then you're, you know, running off and taking care of the kids and you're making dinner for your husband. And, you know, and then you're like, oh yeah, I have a husband that I probably need to pay attention to as well. It's like, it can be a lot, guys. It's we as moms and, you know, women entrepreneurs, like do everything. So for me, I started when I got to Colorado, we went back to the gym. So that really helped me. I focused on doing my yoga, you know, making sure that if I want to go away for the weekend, like my husband and I work out, can I go see my friends for the weekend so I can just, you know, get out of my own way sometimes. But it's really about just figuring out what are the few things. Last year before I left New York, I had worked with somebody who specializes in like the physiology aspect of being an entrepreneur. It's so interesting because it's not just, you know, fancy language. It's actually like how your brain operates. And she had asked me to create 5 things, put them on my calendar every single week that I'm going to do for myself. And I swear I still have all 5 of them on my calendar. It's like Friday nights are drink a glass of champagne, you know, Sunday nights are take a bubble bath, and space them out so that they're not like all in one day too. But so that they actually pop up and you'll actually go do it. Even I have one that's just like read 1 chapter of a book on Tuesday night. You know what I mean? Because I have 18 million books in my office and I am terrible about actually sitting down to read them because I feel like I should be doing work, or, you know, I feel guilty if I sit down and actually relax. So that's a big one, I think. And listen, I love music. So I will literally just go turn on some good music, make my kids dance with me, like drink a glass of wine, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that makes you happy. And well, you know, when we all know what it does for us, like what's that one thing that's going to put you in a better mood, regardless of, you know, what it is, go do that thing.
Yeah.
Go do it. I promise it makes it so much better.
It totally does. I totally agree. That's really, really great to be able to schedule those extra things in for you. Because weeks and weeks and weeks go by and you're like a zombie and you're like, why do I feel so horrible? Why do I hate?
Listen, especially as entrepreneurs, especially those of you like showing up in the online space, like it really is true. Like your vibe attracts your tribe, and how you appear. Like if you're feeling that's going to come across in the live. Honestly, it's going to come across in the way you post, in the way you interact. It comes across in all of that stuff. So when you know, you start to recognize when you get in those spaces. Like I get in places where I'm not feeling creative at all. And I don't really know what it is, but it's almost like forcing myself to show up on Facebook, right? And it's that thing where it's like, let me not do that. Because if I'm doing that, somebody's going to know, like it's going to feel that way. So, you know, it's all those things. It's just really being in tune with how you feel. And that's a hard thing to do when you're starting and you know how much stuff you have to do, right? Yeah. I know I need to do all these things and I need to get them all done by tomorrow. It's like, it's all right. This is a journey. This is a process. Like, just, it's okay. You just have to give yourself grace. I always come back to that. Give yourself grace. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Everybody needs to put that as one of their 20,000 Post-its around their
Post-it notes. At least I'm not the only one.
I had to clear them out actually because it was like I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, it's my screen.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. So what would you say would be the most, I know it seems kind of like the same thing, but not, you know, what would you think that your, the most effective self-care practices that you do?
Yeah. So for me, it's eating well as I drink a glass of wine.
Wine has tons of antioxidants in it. What are you talking about?
Wine and chocolate, please. No, I'm actually more of a salty person. I like popcorn. So I tend to popcorn and wine. I'm totally good. Chocolate, I'm like, maybe not. But eating well for me is a big one. Doing yoga, and I know I mentioned that, but really, like, I actually saw a shaman in Bali last year, And she told me I had really amazing spiritual energy and I needed to protect it because I was going to help so many people that I needed to make sure I was replenishing and keep up on my yoga. So I am like sort of a Nazi a lot of the times about like, we're going to the gym, let's go. Like, I got to go to yoga class. Okay. I don't miss it very often. So yeah, eating well, yoga. And I think a big one that I'm really trying hard to get better at is not always working. I actually really I want to come downstairs every night after the kids go to bed and work, really, whether I'm creating something or I'm, catching up on emails that I didn't respond to, whatever it is, because I know that I'm helping somebody along the way. And so for me, I get excited, but knowing that I need to not do that all the time and I need to actually step back and say, you know what, tonight I'm literally going to make popcorn and drink wine and watch Netflix and maybe finish Vampire Diaries tonight later. Guilty pleasure. But so many times I think, and a lot of people talk about this lately, it's like, it's okay to take a night for yourself. Your business is not going to fall apart. Like everything's not going to go away. It's going to be fine in the morning. If you're feeling burned out and you need a break, take a break. So I think for me, that's a big one. And that was really hard for me because I don't come from that in corporate. I come from being on call all the time and sleeping with my phone, and that's just how I've always operated for a very long time. So that's been a hard one for me, but I think it's a really important self-care practice.
Oh, absolutely. Otherwise you will just go crazy and not be
you go crazy.
Anybody. You can't be of service to anybody, and you usually end up taking it out on the people closest to you, right?
Right, exactly. And it goes back to then you're not taking care of yourself. So you can't take care of your clients because you're not in the right space, right? You're not in your vibe is just not high enough. And I know everybody talks about vibe a lot, but it really is true. Like the higher you can just be in this amazing space and feel good about yourself and about what you're doing, honestly, it comes across in droves. So I'm a big fan of whatever it takes to make sure like I keep myself as high vibe as possible is really important.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. I always have to keep reminding myself of that because I will work myself to burnout, but I'm catching it. I actually had to sit down and write down my signs and symptoms of when.
Oh, that's so good though.
It was really hard.
But it's hard because you don't want to actually admit that, maybe I'm creeping towards, right? Like it's hard to admit that, but I tell you what, once you get into the practice of doing it, and you probably notice this too, the more you do it, the better you feel. And the more you're like, okay, no, I'm starting to have that feeling again that I don't want to feel like, let me go take a break. Let me go do some yoga. Even if it's outside in the backyard, I do that sometimes. I'll just go in the middle of the day. If I've been sitting at my desk for, 4 hours, I'll go outside and play with the dogs for 5 minutes and just get some fresh air, have some water, whatever, just, and then it goes back to eating well too, because I used to be that person. I tend to I get busy and I don't eat. So it's just a really bad habit.
Yeah. I think so many entrepreneurs, especially new ones, they suffer from it. A girlfriend of mine who opened a yoga studio, she said that within her first 3 months, she gained 30 pounds.
Oh yeah, because you're eating, you're grabbing whatever. And that's the one good thing, honestly, us going back to the gym here in Colorado is we actually cook way more since we got here because we're not running to the train, we're not commuting, we're not doing all those things. So it's actually really helped us get a little bit more. And I actually really like to cook. So for me, it's a little bit therapeutic to be able to what are we going to make tonight? Let's make a good meal. And not every night is like that, but we try most nights to actually sit down, eat a vegetable, eat a meat, you know what I mean? Actually eat all the food groups and not just French fries and chicken nuggets. Okay.
Yeah. All the brown ones. There's the brown ones. Yeah. Totally. So I wanted to ask you, what would you say are 3 strategies for success for new entrepreneurs, for the noobs?
And this is such a good, one. And I think just because I'm so focused on newbies too, I'm looking at my notes, guys, because yes, I wrote notes. I'm getting old, man. Can't remember everything. I think being confident, right? You decided to go down this road for a reason. So you being confident in the magic that you want to provide somebody, even if it changes 6 months from now, you showing up in that confidence is going to go a long way. And the next thing, and then figuring out who you serve, because this is And for me, because that's especially like the biggest thing that I teach people right now, because I've realized I wasn't taught that at the beginning. And now I see everyone else running around. I'm this, I do that. I empower women. Okay. But like, what exactly does this mean? Right?
Yeah.
Who do you, like, what woman? We don't all serve the same woman. We're all different. And so I think that's a huge piece that people miss. So I think it's really important to step back, especially at the beginning, and be like, okay, who do I really want to help? Because I promise you it's going to go so much faster if you hone in on who's that woman, who do I serve, and how do I solve her problem specifically, and then show up confidently to solve her problem. And then the third thing is just really to start consistent. Like once you've sorted through that, and even before you've sorted through that, show up consistently on and offline. It's so important. You can't post twice a week and then wonder why your business isn't growing and why nobody's paying attention to you and why you haven't gotten any clients yet. I'm like, you have to show up and share your message every single day. And then on and offline, I'm really big into offline now. I've started going to more events, and I'm working on planning some stuff here in Denver. I really feel like that human connection we're all kind of missing. As good as video, like I love to be on video because it's so much more, I mean, I get tired of just being on the phone and just being online. It can get old, guys. You see everybody else, you know, driving or flying private jets and driving here and there, and you get discouraged, and it's really hard. And if you get in a room full of women, I promise you, the story looks a lot different than it does online, and it's really nice to connect. So I'm a big fan. Start showing up consistently all over the place. I promise you, it's not bad to be all over in all platforms, and just start putting your message out there, very targeted to who you're talking to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really huge one. I think everybody's kind of just like throwing whatever they can to the wall, and they're like, this will work. And then they get offended when it doesn't work. And then, you know, the discouragement, it's really hard to pick up the pieces, but having you and what you do is so important because you're able to really help everyone hone in on the most important things that they need to do so that they can gain momentum and they can build confidence, and showing up in all the places is natural. It's not a problem, you know?
And that's the thing. I think people miss that. It's like, well, how do if I niche down, and like everybody's favorite term, right? If I niche down, I'm going to like exclude all these people. And I'm like, good, because they're not ever going to be paying clients. You're looking for that woman who needs what you have. And that's, 1 in 20 versus not all 20 of them, right? So yeah, I'm a big advocate of that because I know what it's done for me once I finally honed in on that. And I know what it's doing for my clients once they realize, oh yeah, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And it's amazing to watch everyone then go start showing up, and people just start coming. It really does work. It's like, oh my God, it works. But yeah, it really does work. And I think it's the thing, people get so like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. And then, it's hard. You can't show up on all platforms either talking about everything, because then you're just lost. You're like, 1 in a billion hanging out and just hoping that somebody sees your post. And that's not a good action plan. So
no, it's not really an action plan. It's kind of like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, exactly.
And heartache. Because, having the confidence to break free from the 9 to 5, that takes courage. It's
not easy. Yeah.
And it's not easy at all. So another question I have for you is, what fires you up? And we talked about this before, and it's not what like gets you going and, fires you up. It's kind of like, what's your pet peeve? What's something out there that you're noticing that really frustrates the poop side of you, that you just want to shake some people and say, no, this is the avenue. You're not. Yeah.
Well, this is probably, a lot of people will feel me on this one. It's honestly, it's people not building real relationships. It's this, there's this trend now. People add you, then they ask you to like their business page, or they send you a message and like, hey, join my Facebook group, without ever having a conversation. And, or somebody popping in, and we all know that there's some network marketing companies that still do this. They want you to be a product tester or whatever. And I've gotten some of them recently, and I'm just like, number one, it reminds me that this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because there are still companies out there teaching people to do stuff like this. And a lot of it is just old school way of doing things. I think, what worked 2 years ago, or what worked 3 years ago when I first got into doing a lot of this stuff, doesn't work now. It's different. People want different things now that, you know, we've morphed into this social media society. Like, it's starting to ebb towards, it needs to be a real relationship. People are going to buy from you because of you. Honestly, they don't care what you're selling. They want to be in your vibe. And if they vibe with you, they're going to buy whatever you're selling. And I think that's something that's not taught. And we're not taught to go out there and help the person. Like, how do you actually help that person overcome something versus I just like, here's my product, everyone can use it. So yeah, my biggest pet peeve right now is just people not building real relationships. People just said, and listen, I used to be totally guilty of this a couple years ago. I would send messages. Listen, I had good intentions, and I'm sure everyone else does too. But I was making friends just because I was hoping that they would be my customer one day, not because I actually wanted to help them. And I think that still goes on a lot. So, and I know because I get a lot of messages like that recently, and you know, I'm like, or, you know, you add somebody as a friend and you don't say anything. Like, still, you're still not building a relationship. Like, why do you want to be friends with me? Right? Like,
Totally.
I don't add anyone on Facebook that I don't send a message to if I don't know them already. You know what I mean? Or if I hadn't already had an interaction with them. Like, I just don't do that because you're like, okay, well, who are you? That's weird. Even if we have 150 similar friends, right? Like, I still don't know who you are. But yeah, I am definitely seeing, and I'm seeing a lot of people move away from that, but I'm still seeing so many people that they're just really not thinking about how they actually can help somebody, and they're just doing it because they need to build it. They think if they build their numbers and they get a bigger following on Facebook, that it's going to help them, but it's not, because they're not building real connections. So.
Yeah. And, you know, I think maybe X amount of years ago that did work because the platform was new and everybody wanted to connect, right? And now it's kind of like shifted in this way of we're all extremely disconnected. We're dying for human interaction. We're dying for realness. And then I noticed in one group that I follow, it's like everybody's saying like, stop crying on your lives. And I'm like,
yes.
So
I've been seeing that all the time.
It's like, it's swinging, you know, it's just like swung to you know, you get, it's almost as if there's stepping stones, you know, when you first, because I was in network marketing too. And so you message all the people and you don't get good responses from all the people because you don't build relationships, which is number one most important thing. And then you discover building relationships, and then you build relationships, and then you learn that Facebook Live has come out and you got to be live and be present and do those things, right? And be vulnerable and share your story. And now it's like, but you can't show emotion now.
Yeah, and it's such a weird, I think, you know, first of all, I was like, I don't follow any of these. And I'm lucky if I do a Facebook Live, even though I know I should probably do more of them. But I use that word should, and I'm like, yeah, I said should, so I'm not doing it. But it's like, but there is, listen, I think there are those people, if you're coming from a place of authenticity and vulnerability, and you know that what you offer helps people and you're going to give results, keep going. That's what I always say. Like, stop worrying about what everyone else is doing. If somebody triggers you, unfollow them. Like, I go through my feed during the day. If I see something that I'm kind of like, I'm like, unfollow. It's the best thing on the planet. It like literally clears your feed of any of the crap that's in your head that, you know, you're like, oh, look what so-and-so did, man. Am I ever going to make that much money? Unfollow. Okay. Like, you just have, and that's for those of you that are watching, it's just, you got to get out of your own way sometime. And this is the hardest part, I think, when you're new, because you're watching what everyone else is doing. You want to know what strategies are working for people. And the thing is, the only thing that's going to work for you is you, right? And it's you kind of muddling through and figuring out how you want to show up and what works for you, because you're unique. What works for someone else may sort of work for you, but it's going to have your own spin on it. And so, listen, I say that because I used to download all the freebies, and I was that girl. I was like, what? I watched everyone else, and I'm like, I don't understand why this isn't working for me. I'm just as smart as everyone else, right? Like, I'm really smart. Why isn't this working? I don't know. Well, I wasn't being me. You know, I wasn't showing up totally as me. You know, that's a big one. I'm like, you got to build relationships. You got to help people just to help people, honestly.
Well, yeah, exactly. And, you know, one coach that I used to work with, she said, as soon as you make it about the money, you don't make any money. As that is,
100%. If all you're doing is trying to make money, you will not make any money. I can 100% vouch for that.
yeah,
100% vouch for that.
yeah,
It's now that I've flipped that on its head, and it's about helping people and watching people grow their businesses now, and like seeing my clients actually have real results quickly. I'm like, oh my God, like it comes in droves, guys. I promise. You just have to, you got to get out of your own way. You
yeah,
got to realize, like, I'm here. I have this mission. You're on this journey for a reason, right? There's a reason you decided to be an entrepreneur. There's a reason that you want to help the people that you want to help. You just have to keep that in your head, and you have to keep going, and just keep showing up to help them, and they will come. I promise.
totally.
That I can promise you, they will come. Can't promise how much they're going to pay you, but they will come.
Yeah. Yeah, consistency is so huge, and I think no matter where we are in our business, I think it's really important that you shared that to remind us how important it is, because it's the time versus effect thing. You know, it's like crickets, 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 pew, and then it's like
100%. It's so funny because I always used to be like, really? Is that really how it works? But that's really how it works. You just, there comes a point in time, and I'm reading a book called The Happy Pocket Full of Money, and it's all about the physics of time and like time and space. It's, first of all, I didn't take physics, okay? I'm just like, my brain explodes every time I open this book, but it literally talks about how like, and the way that just molecules and the way your body is made up. I mean, literally, it's like, there's a cause and an action, right? Like you can only go so far without things like falling over. And that's when all the people come. So it's like, just keep going. I think I posted about that the other day. I was like, oh my God, did I go away?
no.
You're like, it's just like everything you want is literally, could be tomorrow, could be 2 days from now. You gotta keep going.
Yeah, I watched something just like that yesterday. So that is totally on point with what, you know, if we're vibing on that, I really feel like many people need to be hearing that message right now. Thank you so much for sharing all those things. And I want to tell everybody, even though, you know, Shannon said that you don't need a website to start and don't get overwhelmed about it, I want you to go to her website. ShannonGarrisonNegi.com, and I'm going to I'll put it in the comments and all the fun stuff like that. And she wanted to be able to offer you a 15-minute call, and I highly recommend that you call her and have a conversation. And it's to just be able to have a conversation with someone who understands and know what you're going through is just, it's so nice to know that you're not alone when you're hiding in a small dark room behind your computer.
Right, exactly. And listen, and that's what I'm here for. Like, I really feel like the right people now literally call me, and when you're ready for help, then come and talk to me. We'll do a quick 15-minute chat and see if we can get you moving in the right direction. There is plenty of room for all of us, as I like to say now. Like, there's enough clients for all of us. There's, you know, we're all here to help each other, and the more of us I can get going on the road, the better I feel. So.
Exactly. Because it's a selfish journey for you. You just want to help people to make yourself feel good, you terrible person.
Yeah, it's the best feeling. I'm like, I get so excited. I get so excited when somebody has a win. When one of my clients calls me and they're like, oh my God, this happened. No matter how small it is, it still means we're doing something right. And that to me is the most important thing.
Oh, so. I totally agree. I totally agree. Thank you so much. You are absolutely fantastic. This was a blasty blast. And I think we should chat again, because this was.
Yes, we will chat again.
Yeah, we will be.
Thank you guys. Thank all of you so much. Those of you watching later, thank you.
Yes, thank you everybody. Have a wonderful evening, Shannon, and I will talk to you soon.
I'll talk to you soon. Bye.